running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live, and good morning, BigBeat. How you doing today, my friend?
Good morning, Howard. Yesterday we made a purchase. Yesterday, as you know, I moved from NVIDIA, and I bought a UiPath yesterday. And I know we did it live on the air a couple times, and throughout the day I bought even more because I realized that the future of the world is still in agentic AI when you talk about AI. So I like this. I am now, so you need to write it down. I am averaged in at 1266. That's where we are. We're at 1252 today. I'm excited about this position, and I like this. I think something that you and I have been talking about for a long time is energy. And, I think this is very important where we have been talking about the different types of energy and what energy we're going to need for the future. Meta, Facebook, agrees to buy nuclear power from Constellation Energy to run their data centers. Well, there you go. For me, that tells me literally everything that I've been wanting to know. Where was this deal going to be? Who was going to get it? And how were they going to do it? Again, when you're investing, what do you need? You need clarity. So I think now we figured it out. Now this is huge. 1.1 gigawatts. Oh my goodness gracious, that's a lot. When I was asking, throughout the week last week about energy needs, it's funny how when you and I have been talking about energy needs and people in general saying to us, oh, Bitcoin, oh, crypto, it's just an energy hog. It's a consumer of energy. I was told that several times, including yesterday, Anthony Scaramucci, we had Mooch on yesterday, that AI is literally 99 times worse when it comes to using energy than crypto. In fact, crypto is getting better and better, and eventually AI will get better and better too. It'll get more efficient, but it's not even in the same ballpark as AI.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all you have to do is look at the amount of money and the amount of data centers that are getting built. While there is a race to buy Bitcoin mining facilities and stuff, it's nothing to what we've seen with the amount of M&A money and R&D money going into these data centers for companies like NVIDIA and others.
Yeah, and they need a lot, right? So and it's getting worse and worse for them. So to me, I don't know. I see this as a good position for Constellation CEG. Look, I said this yesterday too as well. Let's look, Dominion. I think you pulled that one up as well, and I also think that ED. So there's quite a few people out there, the companies out there that are going to be in the forefront.
And we're seeing that move across the broader energy market today. Some of the bigger movers, OKLO up 6.94% again. Yeah. On this energy, like we said, Constellation was up 12, Vista Energy up about 5.55. It's an interesting one, though, because every time we see one of these deals, these companies shoot right up. And then as it gets digested, then it's going to take 5 more years, 10 more years to build out the plants. We see a pullback. What are you thinking? Is this sustainable for a CEG, this kind of move?
This is what we call investing, Howard. You mean we don't just buy something and sell it within seconds of owning it, right? It was interesting. I had a chat with Anthony Scaramucci yesterday. He bought $1,200 worth of Microsoft stock when his child was born and forgot about the account, right? But tick the box of reinvesting dividends. He talked about even during the Steve Ballmer era, which was absolutely appalling. Steve Ballmer is now worth more than, believe it or not, worth more than Bill Gates himself today, right? Because he didn't spend any of his money, and Bill's spending his money like water now. And I mean, good for him. But that $1,200 turned into $288,000 because he just left it in there. Then he forgot about it, right? And he said over time, no way would I would have sold that account. I mean, if I during the Steve Ballmer era, I definitely would have sold, right? There's no reason to keep that. And he's showing what it means to actually invest and then buy things and forget about them. 95% of my accounts, Howard, are things that I have not touched. I've got mutual funds that I have not even touched. I just let them go, and then I reinvest the dividends, and I go, whoa, how did that happen? How do I have this money in there, right? It's the same thing here, right? Look, when I look at themes and theses, it's about that, right? What am I looking for in the future? Had I sold my Bitcoin when it went to, and I did a few times, but not all of it, right? I wouldn't have what I have today. So I think the same situation, right? We accumulate, we invest, and it's not always about trading. So I like this. I like this as a longer term investment.
Nice. There you go.
What you got for us today?
Not a lot, man. I gotta be honest with you. Market's edging up slightly. Not much going on. We got some data coming out today. You know, actually, what do we have coming out today? We have jolts coming out. We got a few things, but there really isn't much on the plate here today that I see. Not much on earnings. You know, we had some good retail earnings hit from Dollar General. So again, the low end of the spectrum seems to be winning. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot.
Yeah, you know, when I talk about sports and the news and things that are working out there, you know what? I remember quite well during the O.J. Simpson trial. The markets, they died. I mean, nobody was watching the markets because they were watching the O.J. Simpson trial. I think you remember those days. And look, Sean Diddy Combs' trial is coming out, and that's going to be something that everybody watches. And you know, are they going to keep their eye on Nvidia stock today? Probably not. You know, we just don't know how to trade today because we don't know. We've heard all week that the president, Trump, is going to be speaking with Xi Jinping at some point. That's also going to, be a question mark, right? So there's a lot of non-clarity again. It's a problem. So yeah, no, I think today's kind of take a seat back a little bit. I see now some news coming out that NATO seeks a 5-fold boost in ground-based air defense systems. This is picking up over there in Europe. I'm a little concerned that it's going to get even worse. So hey, I think people just need to be aware. I talked about that yesterday with him, and nobody wants and nobody wins in a war, right? And that to me is starting to wear on people a little bit. That this is getting a little bit more serious with Ukraine really striking Moscow and hitting their bombers, planes. It almost looked like Pearl Harbor. That was how it was described in Reuters yesterday. That tells me that everything else. Now, a couple of things happened. Poland, the country of Poland, elected a conservative,
and they credited Trump with pushing him over the finish line.
That's right. And in South Korea, they are going. The liberal is going to win over there. So the lines,
very liberal.
Yes. So the political lines internationally are changing very quickly, and not towards the United States. It's definitely pulling towards a different field. Now, when Germany invaded in World War II, what country did they invade and took it over the Blitzkrieg? And that was Poland. We are seeing where the Polish people are also spending the most money on defense as well. So there's a lot going on in Europe. People are getting very, very nervous over there. It's almost the point where it feels a lot like that war may be coming, and nobody likes that, as we said yesterday. So I'm a little concerned here.
Steve, did you see the with the economic data we did get out so far this morning is the OECD's data. They slashed U.S. GDP growth to 1.6% for 2025, down from 2.2%, citing Trump's tariffs and policies as uncertainty as key drags. They also talked about U.S. inflation could hit 3.9% again by the end of the year here, and they were pretty negative on North America in general. They see the U.S. at 1.6, and they see Mexico at negative 4% growth, 0.4, and Canada at 1% growth. So they are definitely not all that positive here when it comes to growth in North America.
Yeah, and guess what? What was the word they just used? Uncertainty. That I mean, we've been talking about it. You need clarity. You need clarity, and when you don't see clarity, you can't pick a direction. And when you especially when you talk about the OECD, their finger is on the pulse. They do have technology like us to help them understand the markets, and so they're right. Let's be honest here. The OECD, talking about United States, North America in general, about inflation is what's worrying Powell. And that's why you probably are not going to see that rate cut and 4.434 on the 10-year. It's still sneaking up, and 34.42 on the silver, right?
Their leader, Pereira, did mention that avoiding trade fragmentation is key to limiting the economic damage from tariffs as uncertainty stifles. And then the other takeaway that I really had from it was that they're still saying China is going to grow at 4%. So opposite of what we've heard from some folks here on the show. I don't know, when it comes to China, it's tough to get a good read on what is really going on there. But again, looking stronger than we are, and we've seen that they're willing to play a hard hand right now versus the U.S. in these trade negotiations. So could be a rough ride here with China. And then lastly on it, I will point out that this forecast isn't like it doesn't align with others. It's really close to what Goldman Sachs and Citi have come out with also over the last few weeks. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise to the market, but, not a what do you call it, non-government agency versus a, Goldman Sachs or Citi coming out and saying it makes it a little bit different there. So, I think that is starting, although since that news came out, quite honestly, the market's gone up and ticks, stayed pretty positive here. Advanced declines about 975 to the upside. Qs right now is slated to open up pretty much flat. If we can hold this 523 area, I do think we have room to the upside here. So we'll see how that plays out.
I just see some news coming in that Laura Sweat will be tapped to be the nominee for the FERC. That is the energy department. So she is big on natural gas. She's an energy lawyer. That would mean that natural gas would be a leader also. So I think we need to keep our eye on nat gas over the next week or two as her nomination goes through the Senate here. That's very interesting. She'll be making those decisions on tapping that. So that's very interesting to me. I think we should keep our eye on nat gas for the next week or two as her nomination, and it should sail through the Senate. I don't think she's not a controversial figure. She's not an Elon Musk here. So
good news, VIX is dropping down a little bit back to 1844 here. So after trying to challenge that 20 spot for a few days here, starting to trail back off to the downside. Gold has pulled a little bit back about 67 basis points to 33.60 here. But continuing to still show a strong uptrend on both the daily and the hourly chart. Silver's pulled back a little bit harder here. It had shot up the most, pulled back towards 34.39 here. Did get as low as 33 and change overnight, but nicely regaining some strength here this morning. So we still do see a little bit of a flight into safety. Bitcoin back at 105,450, really not doing much in a pretty tight consolidation range between that 103 and 106 area. It needs something to pull through it. Ethereum trying to make another run here towards 2,700, but that's been its key resistance also.
Yeah, what do you think about this with Robinhood buying Bitstamp back in the day? What do you think about that?
I don't really have. I don't really have much on that one. I mean, they're all going to try to buy, these decentralized offshore accounts to try to increase what they're doing. It's mergers and acquisitions. Right. A lot of them were selling for, a lot of them had almost no book value. So they're not selling for much either. There was a lot of these exchanges over the last year and a half that were looking to sell. And they did it for, pennies on the dollar, so to speak.
And do you think that will push adoption of crypto within the that sphere?
No, I don't think it matters.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that one I don't. I don't think
105
Robin Divine bit
and
stand.
105.5. I mean, Bitcoin's held in pretty well here the last few days.
Yep, it has, absolutely. It's holding up. Like I said, hasn't been able to break out. It's in a pretty tough, consolidation zone. It hasn't really moved one way or the other. Did you see Neuralink raised another $650 million to work on their brain computer interdevices?
It's interesting was speaking with Anthony yesterday, Mooch, that one of his biggest investments was, and it is the private equity, not in the public markets, was in XAI, which is Grok, or Twitter's AI, XAI. And I've always said that AI will be connected into the systems, right? Into, in this case, Neuralink, robotics, healthcare, you name it. It's going to be in there. It's going to be part of our lives. And this is one of those things where Neuralink will be tapping into XAI eventually too, as well. So I do like this. I think people are we want to be smarter, right? They're tired of their fingers tapping the keyboard. I don't know. I'm not going to debate the ethics of this because there's a lot of ethics question marks on this, but Russian economy minister Reshetnikov just says we count on timely easing of monetary policy, which should maintain target GDP growth rate of 3%. Okay. Russia growing on 3% with bombers on the floor. I don't see that happening. I think that's nothing to see here, kind of question mark. But when they say it, I guess we have to put it up there. But you're right. Neuralink, I think, Will Powell put Neuralink in his head to be smarter about? No, I don't think the case is that. No, I don't think so. But do I think adoption within younger people will happen at a much faster pace? The answer is yes, I do. I think people are, as you see these, and I don't want to say kids these days because I'm getting older, but they need to catch up, right? They are concerned about losing jobs. I saw where IBM lost another 800 jobs or got rid of them because of AI, right? Human resources is going to be a thing of the past eventually, right? Accounting will be a thing of the past. There's quite a few things here that we won't need in the future. We don't need whips and buggies anymore, right? And because of that, the world changed, and the world is changing again. So yeah, I think we need to keep our eye on what the future holds, not the past.
Another one moving up nicely today, Hims and Hers, HIMS, up over 5%, now up over almost 9% after announcing the acquisition of European telehealth platform Zava, expanding its customer base by 50%.
Yep.
So Hims and Hers sort of trying to change their model there a little bit here, and it's got them moving up nicely in the pre-market here towards their all-time high.
Yeah, they rolled the dice on the weight loss drugs. They won big, and then lost big. This is what I mean when you don't bet the farm on one thing, right? It's about selling many things to many people and expanding your base. And I really like that they expanded their base, especially in Europe, because I think that's a big place right now to be expanding into. And Hims and Hers is not just weight loss drugs. Eventually, weight loss drugs will be just a pill where everybody takes, and that'll be the end of that. And and you could eat chocolate all day long, which I still think is bad for you. But when you look at Hims and Hers, they've now expanded into other things and other people. So I like this a lot. Is it enough to take them over the top and breaking the tops up over there? Probably not. There's a lot of people that are in very early, and they'll probably be taking some profit off too as well. So
sure, absolutely. On the other side of that, your favorite website, Bumble.
Is it my favorite site?
Down 6.2% after JP Morgan downgraded them to underweight, citing fear loss to your other favorite website, Hinge. But hey, we got to point it out. These are the movers today. Listen, this is a $592 million company, and but and that's the news. honest.
Well, Howard, I pride myself on, being someone who does channel checks, right? I mean, obviously being a married guy, I don't stick my fingers into Hinge and Bumble and all of these. I don't really know how they work. I will tell you that the one thing I heard a lot of at the cryptocurrency conference, the Bitcoin conference, I'm going to call it both, was that people are just sad in general and they're lonely, right? And they are turning to social media to fill that gap. Look, when COVID came around, it did separate us into families, and a lot of people, you need out of necessity needed relationships that broke apart. Now look at where we're at now. And you move forward, they don't really know what to do, and it's all about swiping left and swiping right and Tinder and Bumble, and I don't really understand the back end of this, so I stay away from these. But I do think that they'll be popular just because in the future. But when I look
I'd also say it's probably a play on the state of the economy too.
Yeah,
because in other words, when everybody's going out and going to bars and restaurants and hanging out, that's how you meet other people. If you are saving money by staying home more often, then how are you going to meet people? Probably this would be the way. Again, I'm also a married man, so not familiar. And I never, working in the bar business, I never really followed into any of these.
Yeah, we didn't really need to.
So, but an interesting one. Another one moving on the upside, Pinterest, my wife's favorite, one that you and I don't understand at all. But that my wife loves. And I've told you that, I've talked about it. I should have bought this because it moved up amazingly over the last, few months. But she loves it. And the big part here, though, was really, it makes sense. Pinterest has almost no problem with tariffs. It is very, very, very local, so to speak.
And add Etsy to that too, right? I don't think.
Yeah, and that's why they were up yesterday.
Yeah, I Pinterest and Etsy, good on them. Is it crafts great? I don't really understand crafts. I don't have crafts in my home.
It's also how they find everything, though. Yeah, it's the do it yourself people. It's the wife doing the garden outside, and she's learning from other gardeners. It's she wants to make a recipe. If I'm not cooking dinner, she's looking there for recipes. And what it is you put in your theme. So like her house, our house is modern farmhouse. So anytime that someone posts or makes something that would fit into a modern farmhouse, it pops up on her feed.
Right.
So it's sort of like a guided tour. It's
I wouldn't even know what a modern farmhouse. Well, I grew up in the farm area, so I don't really know.
We're in farm country, so modern or whatever. I don't know, but but that's just it is. It's definitely moving in the right direction. I do think Pinterest on social media is one of those companies that it has not. The moat's there. There hasn't been. That's where like I would talk about. Where there isn't really the same thing with Etsy, right? Shopify to a point, it competes with Etsy, but I think in a very different way. And Etsy has a moat. If someone wants to build something for little people who make crafts and want to sell them, they're going to have to catch up. I think it's the same thing on Pinterest, and it's something I've noticed from the world of crypto. For years, the talk was what's going to be the Facebook app, right? And there was thoughts about all these social media. And there's been probably 10 that have tried, including Ave's, latest creation. They're trying to do it, and not one of them has caught traction. And that's where social media, those moats are big, and that moat on Pinterest is big the same way it is on Meta, Facebook, the same way it is on TikTok. Is people don't like to switch. I know when TikTok was banned, I tried that Instagram Reels. I hated it. I went right back to TikTok.
Yeah.
So I do think some of these companies, the moat is what matters.
Yeah, I mean, with Pinterest, is there an integration into TikTok with Pinterest, right? Are they?
Yeah, well, not into TikTok, but into yes. Like in other words, they also allow you to get your referral fees, so you can write, hey, this is my thing, and if you go buy it right now, Best Buy,
I get some money out of it, right? Okay.
Yeah. So there is the tie in there. Like I said, it's pretty. Again, I don't use it, but I watch her use it, and it definitely is. It grabs attention.
Okay. Very cool.
That's what we care about right now.
I tell you one thing, I was talking about homes in general, and people are complaining about it, but the the amount of homes that are for sale is at an all-time high.
All-time high, yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that too. Well, but it's a little deceiving because it's the value of homes. It's value of homes. And the fact that homes are being listed in crazy prices and everything else does that. It's not. I actually did a little deeper research.
Right. And the reason that they're doing that is because they're trying to sell their home at a profit so that when they buy their next home and they have to pay
exactly.
You're adjusting for that cost in the rates. And that's a higher rate. People are downsizing a little bit. I've noticed that a little bit during COVID, when they bought that home, they bought a bigger home because they knew they had to be inside. They didn't be cooped up in their room. They want the room to be bigger. But they don't need that anymore. They like their experiences. But what's happening right now is that young people that are looking for their first home aren't getting their home, right? Oh, they have a job that they have a job that they're not going to have a job in the future, right? They have an accounting job, or they have an HR job in the future. They may not have that job, and the bank's looking at them going, in 30 years, will you still have it? Will you still have that HR job? No, you won't. Right. So, will your job be balancing the budget? No, because the machine will do that for you. Right. You clean homes. Oh, guess what? A robot will do that in the future, 20 years from now. Right. So, if you look at how far we've come the last 5 years, much less, 20 or 30, things will be changing. And I think AI is going to replace a lot of that, including the people that make the decisions at the bank of whether or not you're going to get a loan. Right now, there's a decision based on a number and a machine, but that eventually you'll go to and see a robot, right? So yeah. No, I think
well, we're not a robot. Eventually, blockchain smart contracts will make that happen. And it will be based upon the ability to repay your loan, not on the ability of where you live, who you know, or what color your skin is, or anything else.
Right. The who you know days are pretty much will be over in about 5 years.
Steve, the mouse laying some people off. Did you see that news this morning?
The Disney has one thing, and Disney has one thing only: entertainment, right? But I will say this much: the Mouse House continues to, and you say don't fade the Musk, I say don't fade the mouse, because people are literally clamoring to get in the door every single day at Disney World, every single day. And every single time Disney raises their rates, people complain and yet pay it, right? So, honestly, Howard.
I'd say Disney and skiing. Skiing's the other one that just has gone up so much, and people don't, they bitch about it, but they still do it. Yeah, it's interesting though, Steve, and I'd have to ask you more about this, because where they targeted is where you've pointed out the best profitability within the company: film, TV, marketing, publicity, casting, and development. This is on the entertainment side of, mostly. Exact numbers weren't given, but about 200 employees, 6% of the workforce. They said that, their reasoning was it's aimed at streamlining operations in response to shrinking ratings and revenue for traditional TV, with digital and social media teams integrated with news gathering and owned stations.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. I mean, everything that Disney's on the cutting edge. They have a whole tech team at Disney, right? Not only with their studios. I'm just saw it pop there on my UI path here, PATH. Just saw it pop. I'm almost back in the profit here. When I look at Disney overall, they have machines to tell them where they're doing well, right? They already have all of that data, and at least everybody here I know has been to Disney World at least once, right? And they know everything about me. They know what kind of popcorn I like, and they probably watch me sing along to some of the songs as I go through the rides. They haven't stopped making movies, and they own the Star Wars franchise, and they're I think they're right. I think they're just streamlining. Is 200 300 a lot? It is to them, yes, but the person getting laid off, but not really in the bigger scheme of things, right? They're really, it's not a lot. Oh wow, 1271 on Path. Somebody is buying Path right here. Big jump there. Now I am in the profit here, as I am long from 1266 here. Nice little move there. Another.
So we are open. I have to take a look here, see if I'm up or down. I did buy, as you know, but I did a leap. Yeah, I'm up nicely. Opening up at about 69 cents. I got in at 60, so up.
Yeah,
about 7.8. I'm up 38% today, 2.8% overall.
And I like
I'm
that
gonna
leap
let that one ride for a little while. What's that?
I like that leap that you made. That was very smart. I think.
Yeah, and again, I bought the $13 call for next month's expiry. So I'm going to let it play, like you said. Also,
yeah, I'm not touching it. It's an investment here.
We are open, moving into the upside a little bit. Tick is slightly negative, but SPY has gone positive. Q's now broke that 523 area, so we did break the resistance I was worried about here. Now our next spot is, can we run all the way to that 535 area? That's what I'm looking at here. Any kind of strength today, I think, takes us up to that 535. Going to hit resistance at 532. So we're looking pretty positive here so far today. If tweets can stay out of the way, I do think we have a nice day in store overall.
Advanced decline here, only up by 40 right now, so pretty quiet here.
Yeah, there isn't much.
Only down by 52 now, so there is some selling. Looks like algos are probably playing around a little bit.
We have seen the Dixie regain the 99 handle here, so we're seeing a little bit of strength come back into the dollar, holding up at the bottom of the daily or the weekly linear regression there.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of the VIX still slipping a bit, 52.98 on the VXX. For those of you who are playing the tight game here a little bit. I just, it doesn't, silver 34, 32 here. There's just a little profit taking all around everywhere, so I'm okay with this. Federal judge dismissing the California lawsuit over Trump tariffs, citing jurisdiction issues. So Trump winning there a little bit on the tariffs. He still likes his tariffs.
As of now, that's for sure. Let's see what's moving here so far this morning.
Now advanced decline line down almost 800 as tick continues to slip here a little bit. Now down.
Biggest move is to the upside so far. Credo Technology up about 26% here. Dollar General up 11.37. Constellation Energy up 7.16. We talked about yesterday the Chinese cars making a big move on Tesla's hold in both China and Europe. Li Auto up about 6.65% here this morning. Again, we talked about all the nuclear names. Vistra up 4.8%. Like we said, Constellation on that deal with Meta up 7.6. Talent Energy up 3.12. So we do see all those sort of moving up together. AI, I mentioned I like the AI for a bounce back from yesterday. We do see SoundHound up 3.91%. I see Rigetti up 2.41%. So I guess AI is not dead today. It is moving back to the upside here.
And I was told AI is dead. That's what social media was saying. AI is dead. It's just it's we're not even in the first inning of this. It's funny when people were talking about ChatGPT being the greatest thing, and then I like Midjourney and I like this. Man, I think it's going to be, it reminds me of the beginning of the internet, right? Where there were so many different internets going crazy. The interwebs was going to fail, right? And today, look at what we came and live. Look at what we're doing today, right? We couldn't do this without the internet as it is. The AI is going to be much better even in the future here. Whoa, seeing a little bit of selling here a little bit.
Seeing some sell-offs here. Pony AI, on the other hand, pulling back, right? It actually went below that support level that I pointed out I'd like it at. So could be interesting play for me here. I want to see how it plays out. Probably be looking at the bottom of that hour linear regression as a spot where I might look for a bounce back from. That would be in that $15 range.
Seeing Wall Street Jesus now putting out that the put to call ratio on Hood is way skewed to the call side here. 4,943 puts, 24,000 calls there. So quite a bit of calls. Yeah, on Hood. Robinhood.
Robinhood is up 3.4% today. Seeing a lot of the
the Danes prime minister will offer his resignation to the king. That's interesting because of the Arctic issue right now, right? Pressure. There's a lot of pressure there. In China's Xinhua News, China has launched the Association of Southeast Asian Nations visa. So it looks like they're gonna be being able to move around a little bit in Asia over there. I'm keeping my eye on Path this morning. I like it to move up again. So the tick up to the upside. Jim Cramer now tweeting that Apple's always front and center on the downside. Same with Google. Okay, Jim.
Another one, Steve, that we've talked about in the past, moving up again here today, is Signet Jewelers.
Yeah, very much so.
Nice move to the upside here, up about 10% here this morning. Strong earnings beat, raised their guidance, making it focal point for retail sector discussion.
So, I had a chance. I was at the Venetian, and Catherine and I walked around and, some of the shops. And what I didn't see was people buying jewelry. I didn't see that at all. In fact, the jewelry stores seem to have lots of sales going on. But what I did see was like knickknacks, things that was being sold quite heavily, right? I did not see jewelry being a thing. But I don't know. Jewelry right now, we're coming into the summertime, which is the wedding season. So maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a huge buyer of that stuff, so I don't really have a good channel check on that. Steve, we do have factory orders today at 10 o'clock, Jolts at 10 o'clock also. Auto sales, any of those you think are going to move the needle maybe today?
You saw Ford with their big sales saying that their employee pricing commercials did very, very well. I think people are holding off on buying vehicles right now, not with the tariff issue right now. I don't know. I think I'd like to see the numbers so that I understand the numbers and what they're buying. SUV numbers should be very good. So companies that are into the SUV files, I say yes. So is that Ford? Yes. Is that General Motors? Yes. Is that Tesla? No. It's interesting. We'll see how it goes now with Elon Musk with his black eye leaving the White House, and see how he reiterates and reacclimates back into Tesla headquarters. But no, I don't think so. I think people are holding off on their vehicles right now.
Yeah, we'll find out in those sales. I will say
rates are up. I mean, there's so many things to tell people no. But yeah. I also think we should people are waiting to see if Powell cut. If rates get cut, then yeah, I see.
You want to talk about a big nothing, by the way. What about Powell's speech yesterday? Yeah, resigning. He didn't even say a word. He basically just said, this is thank you to the organization that he was with and how valuable they were as an organization. And then he just said, see ya, peace out. I stayed around late, was watching that thing, and I just had a laugh.
I mean, isn't that what we said yesterday? That if you're a right winger, you're listening to the nonsense about Powell resigning. Powell he's in the driver's seat. There's nothing the president can do. He's there, and he's going to say the whole time. Will he be reappointed? The answer is 100%. No freaking way. But he's going to live I don't blame him. It's kind of like being the queen, the king. You're gonna stay there till you die. So he ain't gonna go anywhere. And he's like, man, thumb his nose at it too. So I don't blame him.
Steve, I'll tell you, I'm sort of liking the way Ford's looking at this point here. Bouncing up that 200-day MA, just regained the 50-day simple MA. It's at
if
a pretty
you're
good
looking to play
range.
Ford, Ford's easy. Play the options with this one. Play longer term.
Yeah, longer dated options again.
If tariffs become a problem internationally, Ford will do very well because I love BMW, but I can see myself buying a Ford if the price gets a little too out of control.
Well, and I'd point out again, here in farm country where they use their pickups for, work, they buy them whether or not, prices go up. They finance them. They finance $500,000 tractor combines and other things. So these folks have a little bit of a different view on it. They need it to do their stuff. And I think that Ford is the leader in trucks when it comes to that for me. And that's sort of my play here, is that's going to be a little bit insulated. And again, I do think that they've done a good job of integrating EV in. They took a little step back. They got a little too ahead of themselves, but they've done a pretty good job of positioning themselves. They have a decent amount of like what you like, which is hybrid / gas combo cars.
Hybrid,
those hybrids, and they do well there. I'm sort of interested. I like Ford. I don't know if I like driving.
I can tell you when Captain and I first got together, we liked the Ford Edge. We had a Ford Edge for our first year marriage, and my wife Lily loved it, but not like as much as the BMW X5.
Yeah, no.
But she really enjoyed it.
Interesting for me here at this price. I'm very interested here. Let's see if it holds up above that 200-day MA today. And especially if it can hold above that 50. If it holds above the 50 here, above that 995 area, I could be interested longer term for Ford.
Growing up, my parents had Ford Explorers, right? My dad loved his Ford Explorer.
And I know the Bronco hasn't gotten great reviews, but I see a lot of them around me here. I see a lot of them. Are you seeing them down there at all?
A few. I mean, down here, I live in Mercedes and BMW land. But to me, it's more about the Ford Expedition, right? If you're going to go that Ford direction, it's a Ford Expedition. I'm being a much bigger thing. The Ford Explorer is probably the direction that I would probably end up going if I went with Ford. But
the reason I'm interested in what the Bronco's done is I've been reading a lot about Stellantis and the mistakes they've made. And one of them is that if you want a Wrangler, they're about $70,000 for a Jeep nowadays. So I think that you're going to see Ford really, and if you look at the new style, they're very much geared towards that Jeep buyer. It looks like the roofs come off, all that kind of stuff. So,
and we talk about Ford, their numbers are 16% in May alone, right? A jump. But they said that their F-Series truck sales surged 15% to 80,000 units. Oh, my goodness gracious. 80,000 new trucks on the road. Great. The one thing that you notice when you're on the road is if you're in a small car, which I never am, you're sitting low to the ground and everybody else is passing you up, right? So the move to SUVs has been very severe over the last 2 decades, and I don't think anybody's going to go back to it. So it's all about the hybrid, right? Majority of our trips, I'd say almost 85% of them, are literally within the 45-mile range of the hybrid electric. So we never even use gas. In the year and a half we've had this new one, I think we've been to the gas station 5 times. That's crazy.
Nice. Mag 7's a mixed bag so far. NVIDIA back up towards 139 here. Apple has gotten above that 200 level nicely, back at 202. Microsoft a little bit down here, 461 and change. Google getting hit hard again today, down another 2% at that 166.90 area. Amazon pretty much flat on the day. Meta down slightly, about 35 basis points. Tesla with a nice move up here today, almost a percentage point. And Netflix at 12.15, down about 30 basis points. So mixed bag across the Mag 7, mixed bag across the S&P sectors. Biggest leader so far is XLU Utilities, up about 74 basis points. On the other side of that, XLC which is communications is down about 81 basis points. So we're seeing a mixed bag today across all the markets, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty, it's going to be the trading range. Put that, and today it's a day where you do put on linear regression on your charts. Today is a day where things are going to be trading within a range, right? So I do like today's trading within your charts. But again, how much worth is it when Trump tweets today, right? How much worth is it going to be when Xi Jinping says "Screw you, America"? I don't know. That's the key to me.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that. It definitely is the issue to keep your eye on, without a doubt.
And you talked about it with Steve Flanagan yesterday. There it is, 99.12. It's bouncing off that 99 handle. 99.08 keeps going down there, tries to get back below it. I think we go right back. I mean, the dollar is trying to firm, but printer goes burr. I mean, I talked about that yesterday on Wolf Financial. I was on their show, and printers not stop printing. And because of that, that's why you're seeing Bitcoin at 105, and a little bit of a drop there, 33.44 now in spot gold here. A little bit of a drop here in gold. Again, people ask me, how do you know when to sell your gold? Well, watch commercials on TV. They'll tell you right when they're doing it, right? So
not only did I see a commercial, I saw an infomercial over the weekend on CNBC where they were explaining how the gold is disappearing from the mines and it's going to be gone. Got to get it now before it's too late, before only the oligarchs can get it. So that actually made me laugh because I thought about you and that. Coinbase's up about 1 percentage point today here, 250.
And that's why TV stations goes, the next commercial is not the opinions of the station, right?
Yeah, they don't represent
the high path on the highs, near the highs of the day. You're at 1270 here, right? Your calls are doing quite well here, Mr. Hondo.
Yeah, nicely, love it.
The selling yesterday was a little overcooked, and I continue to buy all the way down because I like that. So.
Still keeping an eye on Berkshire myself here, 500, 499 and change. I sort of targeted that 495 area as a possible buy.
I will say geopolitically for Iran, the ability for them to enrich their uranium to weapons grade is very disconcerting. And I think that it should reach the president's desk, and he should be making some decisions very soon on that. Having a very heretical country like that is disconcerting to me a lot. Iran is a bigger threat to me right now, I think, than even Russia or China, because they do have the religious zealots as their leaders, and that is one of those things where they don't just say bad people; they say, "Oh, God told me to blow you up." That becomes quite an issue, right? And yeah. Wow, spot gold just fell again. I think I just was talking about another $10 an ounce there.
Steve, you looking at Nike at all at the $61 area? It hasn't really moved much since you.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Nike. I went long. I still am long on Nike. I still like it. I still have a pair of DNA8s. I love them. The new pair. I will tell you, I love the fact that Nike has a new website and that they're doing direct to consumer. I do like that a lot, and the Foot Locker deal as well. I think that they're going to come out with these new earnings and say, kaboom, look at what we did. I tell you another one that I do like, and I like what they've moved into, and that's Skechers with their brick and mortar. Now, I know people will go, oh, brick and mortar, we don't need brick and mortar. A lot of times brick and mortar isn't about selling the shoe there. It's about giving somebody an ability to go look at all the shoes and try them on, then go home, and when you are direct to consumer as the actual shoe company, I think it's much better than just Foot Locker or whatever. And I really understood what they were doing. 1271 now back on.
Holy good Lord. Is that a chart that is just in a consolidation of a zone?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that daily chart is about as flat there's not any movement in those candles.
Yep.
Wow. I've never seen that before. That's crazy. See what else is catching here. Anything? Chips are moving up today in a decent way. Molson moving up today, 8.93%. Molson cores. Not seeing a whole lot here. Let's go back to the pumpers. CoreWeave shooting up here again, 699. So CoreWeave.
Like CoreWeave's got they've done the right thing there. I like that a lot.
Vistra continuing to climb. Seeing, like you mentioned, defense contractors, Kratos, CTOS up about 3.86%. Pegasystems that works in that area up
Kratos defense.
5%.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I like Kratos defense. Suncor Energy up a little bit here.
Seeing the crypto names getting a little bit of love today. Core Scientific up 2.56. Galaxy Digital up 2.43. See what they're trading at. That's one that got hurt on their listing on the NASDAQ. They get a little bit of a base here. Tick is still slightly negative here. Advanced decline only up 400, so pretty muted on the day overall. Dow Jones flat in general, SPY flat in general. Q is up 22 basis points at 524, so continuing to slide to the upside there nicely. Russell 2000 is up 29 basis points, so small caps leading the way so far this morning. Oil continuing to move up here. Brent at 65, WTI at 62.50.
There it is. UiPath now on the highs of the day, up 2% here, Howard.
Nice. Do you see the 10-year pulling back a little bit here today, Steve? 10-30 moving back a little bit.
Yeah, spot gold slipping a little bit more here, actually. There it is, lows of the session here, 33.43.
Say TS Sat's getting hit pretty hard again here, down another 5%. This is one that's definitely been getting hit hard, down about 25% year to date. That's versus ASTS that's up about 13.51% year to date. They're looking very strong. Steve, Boeing 215 almost here, 215.
You know, Google just can't seem to win here at all. I mean, with AI talking about they're going to go with Perplexity to replace Google search. Wow, look at Path, man, Path 1275. I say I don't want to. I say I don't want to take some profit, but oh my goodness,
200. First zone of resistance should be about 1294, 1295 area. Let's get pretty good room up towards there. Steve, the other one that just won't stop, Palantir, 132.60. Set a new all-time high again.
A little bit of a push here in Bitcoin again, 105.5. It's really holding here. I'm liking this this hold here.
I need it to break out of a zone, but it won't right now. I'll tell you, UNH has formed a decent little bottom here for me.
Yeah, UNH is going to be fine. I know that some friends are in it. It will take some time, but it will come out and it'll make everybody happy. But it's going to take some time. So
yeah, that might go into my long term here.
And if you, I could easily see like longer term like leaps on that one where you do take possession of the shares.
Yeah. The thing there, though, is when I looked, I don't know now. I'm going to take a quick look. Their options were extremely expensive based upon
Yes, I'm sure they are.
volatility, obviously. So it wasn't necessarily the advantage I was looking for there. Sometimes UNH. Take a look here.
We're hearing reports that Turkey's foreign minister and U.S. Secretary of State Rubio discussed results of Istanbul's talks to end war between Russia and Ukraine on a phone call, according to the Turkish foreign minister right there. What's really being taken out of the hands of Russia and Ukraine as things are picking up over there, and it seems to be that we just don't want a full-blown war. It's not going to be good if that happens.
No, not at all.
105.6. Come on, baby. Let's go, Bitcoin. And tick now pushing up here, up one. Yeah, there you go. Come on, Path. Come on, baby. High as the day. As Qs continue to push up here, Howard.
Yeah. Definitely moving up. Just looking here to see what other notes we got. Anything else moving?
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron, reminding us the JOLTS is in 5 minutes, which is a well-loved number of Janet Yellen, but not so much because they're not looking at unemployment as closely. But job openings, labor turnover survey, for those of you who don't know what JOLTS is, that tells us, are the jobs opening? Are they where are they moving to? So it's usually a weird number, not a normal unemployment number. Tick slipping a bit. Tick went negative here a little bit, down 300 now. Pretty quiet, muted morning though.
Yeah, overall, just pretty muted just in general. Not seeing a ton of movement. Slight upward bias on a lot of things, but again, Q's sliding up a little bit here, 525.
Tick continues to slip here, down 500 now.
It's the high of the day, so it is trying.
I'm just nervous about the numbers coming out. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Here we go. 1 minute to the numbers. Tick down 267 there.
Yeah. Q's still moving to the upside, though. Just broke to the high of the day. Just broke to the high of the day. Let's see. Jolt numbers should be coming out here in the next 30 seconds or so.
Results numbers coming out now at actual 7.391 million. Expected 7.11 million. Previous was 7.2. So that is pretty bullish as unemployment numbers a little bit higher. Opening job was a little bit more than normal there. So that should push the markets up a little bit as we think about from the Powell perspective. Is Powell going to cut rates? This would give him some leeway in order to do that. We are seeing a little bit of a push to the upside here. I think there's the numbers for you guys for April. Now remember, it is a lagging indicator, so it's not a new indicator. All right, it's 10 o'clock. Howard, take us home.
Absolutely, everybody. What are you looking at, Steve? To me, I think it's a melt up day, but in a nice way on the Qs for sure. Tech.
Yeah, it's a melt up day, and I'm still looking at my path up almost 2.3%. So
nice.
It's AI still the theme here, and you now see the Qs on the highs of the day. So
yeah, and secularly, we're seeing a move out of the safe havens, out of gold, out of silver, out of Bitcoin, and back into the equities today. So catch the wave, everybody. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning.